a beautiful, well-known, great actress down to the bare minimum trying to create rugged ugly does not automatically equate to a great movie. It don't. It don't. Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Tyra here with another struggle review, here to discuss Bruised. Now this movie is from 2021. It's available on Netflix and it stars Halle Berry. Now before I get into exactly what this movie was going for that just didn't quite make it there for me, I need you guys to drop down and subscribe to my channel and like this video. I'm going to give you guys a moment to do that, and then we're going to come back and discuss all things girl fight, $1 Billion Baby, Rocky, Bruised, Creed. They're all the same. You guys have hopefully subscribed to see more of me. Let's get into this movie. Now, before we jump to the movie, we have to spend like 2 seconds on Halle Berry. Halle Berry, who is a phenomenal actress to me. I love the bulk of the work that she has been in, especially her early years on up until she, won her Oscar for Monsters Ball. But with her most significant roles like, Monsters Ball or her role in Jungle Fever, a lot of times she shined when, she was stripped down. We weren't, distracted by all of her beauty that she has going on. And I think that's what we were trying to recapture here and get back to that. But this movie happened to fall right back into those same traps that I have been falling into with Halle Berry's movie choices all the way somewhere after like Gothica and Catwoman. It has just been a decline. Not her performance. Her performances in these films that she's been in were good. She performs well, she acts well, but the material that she's giving, the role, the script, it does not add anything. And I think that's what we got here again. Now, even though all of these movies are always lacking as far as the writing, we try to propel these movies and Halle Berry in them by normally trying to force her into stripping down her looks, making her look a little emaciated, these terrible wigs, and toning down her sex appeal. And I just don't think that's always the answer. Her being, Jackie Justice here and her, becoming this rugged UFC fighter, it was nice, but sometimes it can come off as disingenuous. Now, getting into this movie, Halle Berry directed it, and I think she did a really good job. I see a lot of potential for her to do even better, and I'm looking forward to her stepping behind the camera more often. That was not a problem here. Now, as far as this story, this is the story that we know. It was done best with Rocky. And then we have movies like Creed and Girl Fight and $1 Million Baby. Hell, Karate Kid, the story of that underdog, that fighter. She is a UFC fighter here who lost her title by running away from a UFC fight when the fighter gets the best of her. And from that point on, her life has been on a decline. She's not, some prolific fighter anymore. She's like in the slums. Now, for the beginning of the film, we just spent time focusing on just how downtrodden and bruised she is. She is in a very toxic, alcoholic-ass relationship with her former trainer slash boyfriend slash the fool who got her into that tragic UFC fight in the first place. And it's just letting us know that even though she claims to be happy and satisfied with her life, she is clearly not. I don't know if they put, any makeup on her or if that was, just Halle. I don't think it was, because Halle is freaking beautiful. But they do a really good job of making it look like, she's some down, ex-UFC fighter. She really looks broken. Now, getting into the boyfriend character, I do think, they had, I guess, decent chemistry on screen, but a lot of the time in the film, it just seems like to me she was the better actress, and I was really trying to get into their relationship and, you know, what was going on, but it just felt like yelling to me. It didn't feel like the script had a whole lot to offer. And they also confuse us kind of with his character, because in one turn, you know, she's stating she's happy, but, you know, he wants to push her and motivate her to be, you know, a fighter again, and you can do it, and I believe in you. And, you know, she winds up fighting some big ass Thor looking lady. But we also have, you know, him being, you know, abusive, and, you know, them having sex and her saying hit me, and they live this whole sex drugs type of relationship. And it's just like, what? Like, what exactly is he? Pick one. Is he, you know, some loving dude who just, you know, lost his way into drinking that she wants to get better and be with? Or is he some abusive asshole that she needs to get away from? Now, of course, we figure out later on exactly what he is, but don't do that. So with things looking up, you know, right after Jackie bangs somebody's fucking head into submission, you know, with her own head, it's like, oh, she still got it. You know, she might still have one in the chamber. I want to give her an opportunity to train her. I still believe in her. You know, boyfriend's excited. Up until, you know, we try to make this more than just that run-of-the-mill Rocky Balboa underdog. I'm going to train and run, and then, you know, I'm going to prevail and execute that big fight that I ran away from in the beginning of the film. No, we decide to make this movie different and add in a child named Manny. Before we get to Manny, let's spend a moment on the mom. The cool mom. I'm not a mom, I'm a cool mom. The pill popping, I'm making wigs and popping pills, about to have a party because we partying, and I'm ghetto when we partying. That mom, trying to give Monique a run for her money, and Precious mom, like, she came through the film like a whole freight train, and it was like, yeah, you ain't gonna do shit, get the shit, you do shit, you ain't never been shit, you know, it was given. But I just felt like, you know, whoever wrote this kind of went for that lowest hanging fruit as to why, you know, Jackie Justice would kind of be the way that she is. Like, you know, she had a tough upbringing, she had this kind of mom, and, you know, she was, you know, with the shit, but I was like, oh, okay. Now, once we get into Manny as a character, and in addition to this film, had to be maybe the most frustrating thing for me, because I just was like, I have seen this, you know, it's kind of like becoming a movie trope now, where we have, you know, kids or whomever experience trauma and they don't speak. And we have this, you know, triumphant moment in the film of, you know, when they finally do speak. We get into Manny, and first of all, you know, she completely, and that was another thing with the boyfriend character and his inconsistencies of, you know, how he was treating Manny versus like, oh yeah, you know, he's welcome, come on in, let me fix you something to eat, and then all of a sudden you just want to knock the kid out. Like, make a choice, movie. But getting into the Manny character, like, I really was trying hard to be invested in, like, you know, that whole dynamic that they were trying to bring. Now, of course, Manny is here. He is, you know, her son. She ran out on him years ago, and now from him seeing the death of his dad, he's traumatized and he no longer speaks. And they ran that shit into the ground. Like, for us to really identify with Manny and exactly why he wasn't speaking, I just knew eventually we were going to have a flashback. We were going to get some type of details into Manny's life as to say, you know, we know something happened, but those little tidbits matter. I felt like we had to watch an entire film with, you know, a little boy just not speaking, and, you know, our Halle Berry character getting frustrated with that, you know, the surrounding characters being frustrated, him interacting, doing a lot of activities, but for the most part, it got annoying. It got annoying for me. It got annoying to where, you know, I wasn't identifying or caring for Manny. I was just like, so how long are we gonna do this? Like, you know, I don't like that. I don't like that feeling, because I know things like that happen in real life. But at a certain point, I just got frustrated because we weren't getting anything. All we were getting, you know, were situations on top of situations with Manny where, you know, he didn't feel compelled to speak. You know, he was, you know, showing as much emotion as he could, or just showing pretty much his distrust for the Jackie Justice character and why he didn't want to speak. But it was just like, well, damn, like, all that we have to go on is just the two of us. We can make it if we try, just the two. That's all y'all gonna give? Y'all gonna give us that little keyboard flashback and we supposed to survive off of that? Really? So after we leave Halle Berry losing Isaiah yet again, we get into probably the best performances in the movie for me. And no, it's not Halle Berry. These actors, well, one in particular was way underutilized. We get into Budokan, aka Miss Sheila Antum. I hope I'm saying that right. She was so great here. I feel like her character got the best character development. I cared about what happened to her. I was interested in what she had to say. She had a lot of screen presence. She was great here. I was so excited to see her because when she went in and, you know, she's looking for the trainer and, you know, this big opportunity to start over and start fresh, it was, you know, really interesting that it wasn't a man. We see, you know, countless movies where, you know, they go train the whole thing and it's always a male trainer. No, this was a whole woman and she was holding a lot of weight. And we gonna get into them snatching that fucking weight back as soon as they gave it to us. We also have, I think it's Shaman Anderson. I hope I'm saying that right. He was really immaculate here. He has this magnetic thing to him on screen where I was really enjoying the time that we did have with him, you know, kind of recruiting her and I want you to be in the championship, I believe in you. But if you would have blinked, you would have missed him. I thought after we got him, you know, that first couple of minutes in the beginning of the story and he recruited her to train her and even put her in the position to be in the match, we were going to see much more of him. I pretty much forgot all about him midway through the film and the plot only used him when it was convenient, you know, because she has to be bruised for another person, another man to tear her down and just be like, you know, oh, you thought it was this, that, and the third. No, I'm using you just like anybody else, girl. You stop playing around. I need you to train. I need you to win this match. And then it was just like, oh, like that. He was very underutilized here. I was hoping to see him a lot more, but we did not. Once we get into her, you know, signing her new contract and her trying to be a little bit more motherly as far as Manny is concerned and take responsibility, things become more problematic at home because he was a jealous hater all along and abusive. Oh, who would have known? And we also get into training. Now, the training scenes here, they were good. It is really commendable. You can tell that Halle Berry really studied techniques and she put her body through, you know, a little bit of a transformation. I like the soundtrack here, the all, you know, female hip hop soundtrack. That was a nice addition. But we really get into her leaning more on another thing. I really wish we would have got a little bit more fighting. I feel like it was lacking a little bit on that part because this is, you know, although I know the story was trying to tell us, you know, not about her being physically bruised in fights, but her just being bruised as a person, relationships, childhood, this, that, and the third, just in life in general. I wanted to see a little bit more kick-ass, you know, let's get, but, you know, it's cool. Once we get more into, you know, leaning into Budokan as her trainer, you know, that great epic trainer that's motivated. She was going against prototype of, you know, that male trainer. She had all this wisdom. She was, you know, loving. She was pushing her. She was, you know, supportive, giving us all those great things we need and know of as a trainer. But they decide to snatch all of that shit back and become very predictable. Once we got into, you know, the fighting that we did get to see, the sparring that we did get to see for her training, and it was just this, that, and the third, and then Budokan steps in and goes, you know, hey, let me show you that technique again. Like, let me help you out. And it's all, you know, sexual. Like, I was like, like, y'all are really about to go this route. It undermined her character and this great position she had as a female trainer to snatch it all back and just make it some simple sexual attraction to Jackie and go on this whole, you know, roller coaster with them, engaging in a relationship. Like, who asked for that? We did not need that. Like, oh, it became something else once that happened. I was so happy to see this trainer here. When I think of movies and think of trainers, I always think of the trainers in Rocket, you know, Paulie, the old man. I think about those people. Here we have a strong, black, female, gay trainer. What? Talk about whole ass evolution. But we undermine her and make her sexually attracted. And you've seen it like go on further and further. Each encounter they had, she was kind of, you know, coming on a little bit and kind of being a little bit more flirtatious. It wasn't, you know, overstepping any boundaries, but you could tell something was about to happen, and she made her interest very clear. And I was like, we just couldn't. So after Budokan establishes, you know, I want you and I'ma have you, we get into, you know, her becoming a little bit more successful with getting into that training. Child, I was like, y'all putting a lot on this training. For her to be, you know, 10-0 and all of this other good stuff, and like she was the people's champ type shit, like, why is she being trained like she's never fought a day in her life? Like she doesn't know, protect yourself at all times. Like, girl, put your hands up. Anyway, we get to her training. You know, she's doing better. She's doing good. You know, she's cleaning up that little apartment and, you know, throwing away the alcohol. She's trying to persevere. Of course, the boyfriend gets jealous and he decides to become, you know, a little bit more like he's about to hit Manny, and she feels like, you know, she needs to protect him. And when it actually does escalate and, you know, he breaks the piano and he hits her, and she's like, oh my God, like, oh, I can't, we got to get out of here. Like, really? No. Like, we established that you guys had an abusive relationship way before Manny got here. Like, okay, you know, whatever. Once we get into her, you know, kind of being from pillow to post and her trying to find somewhere for her and Manny to live and all this other good stuff, and I'm just like, girl, what are you doing? I was literally watching it, waiting on her to make her way to Budokan's house, rubbing her hands together like Birdman, like, girl, what's good? They was trying to make it very clear. Once we have her go to the mother's house and live there, you know, with the party, because I'm partying, popping pills with the party. Once we get there and she realized, like, oh no, you are still just as toxic as you were when I was a child. You allowed this and that to happen to me and have me, you know, be sexually assaulted by your boyfriends when I was younger. You know, creating the vibe of, you know, this is why she would even fall into someone like her ex-boyfriend and that whole thing. You know, mom's was foul. But I was just like, you know, why are we coming up with the dog and pony show? We all know whose house she's going to end up with. It was like written in the stars, because I did not like that, because it was almost like they were trying to say, with all of this, you know, toxic behavior from the man around her and, you know, how she's been treated, all she really ever needed was the loving of a strong black woman with a scully on and a chain. Like, girl, just go over there and everything's gonna be all right, girl. You just need a little crutch, girl. Go on over there. You thought she was just your trainer? No. Like, they undercut the entire movie for me by giving them a sexual relationship. I don't think it needed to be there, and I think it took away from Budokan as a trainer. We almost had one. Now, once we get closer towards the end of the film, and we get, you know, all those really good training montages and really seeing what Halle can do, she's really doing great, you know, as a fighter and training, and everything is getting better. But the closer and closer she gets to the fight, she has a lot of people, you know, on her shoulders, people clowning her, people feeling like, you know, you've been away for too long. There is no motivation besides Budokan. But, you know, it started to weigh in on her, like, oh my God, I have so much riding on my shoulders. What if I can't do it? What if I run away like last time? And she has a panic attack. Even though she's been trying to, you know, establish what she can from Manny, there's still, you know, that distrust, causing him to run away, and the mom, you know, threatening to take custody, all of that. Little girl, get out my face. We get up, you know, closer to the fight and have her finally, you know, engage with Budokan and them establish kind of this relationship. She really cares for her and wants to be with her. But once we get closer and closer to the actual fight, we finally, you know, understand what happened that day. It's like, you know, I didn't just run away because I was being beat up. That was the day I ran away from Manny. We have established throughout the entire film, you know, that she's a runner. She doesn't like to take responsibility. She's, you know, scared, and she's feeling like that's, you know, affecting her game because she did that. And I'm glad that they did this here because I think it kind of helped the story. I'm like, we didn't need this in the first place, but for them to establish, you know, I'm not ready for this. She tells, and I was like, you're her trainer. You should know. You've been in her house. You seen her ex. You see, you know, her life and her struggles, how she's running around and trying to be on time for this, trying to get Manny. Like, it's a lot going on right now. She is not ready to have, like, Buddha. She's like, yeah, we could just pick up and, girl, you come live here if you want to. Like, I got you. Like, no, ma'am, I'm not ready for this. And it was just really inconsistent for how a trainer would be with a fighter. Like, you know she isn't ready for this. You know this is going to affect her game. Move, girl. But I like the fact that we get to that point because, you know, she's just a strong trainer and she believes in her, and it's just been about the training this whole time. And yeah, your fight tomorrow, I'm about to just disappear because I'm mad. But it was not that. She disappeared, which is, you know, once I realized once we got into the fight, her fight before, she had her ex there, and, you know, he even got her into the situation. The fight with Thor in the goddamn beginning, the ex, like, she's always had a crutch or someone in her corner that she felt like she needs to lead on. I need this person here. Why isn't she here? You don't need anybody but yourself. You're your own rock. Like, girl, get in there and kick ass. Once we get all the way to the end, you know, we have everybody, you know, riding on this fight, looking at it. Even, you know, Precious Mama, she was looking from her friendly living room with Manny. All of that, you know, that contradiction, like she just had all this loathing for her daughter and did all this stuff or let these things happen to her daughter as a child, but in turn, she's all willing and ready to take care of Manny. You know, inconsistent, but okay. Even though we have all that going on, once we get into the actual fight, it was constructed really well. The whole choreograph and all the extra skibbity boop bop bop bops, that shit looked really good. I really liked the way that it was shot, that it was executed. Like, whoever stylized that whole thing and made that Mortal Kombat situation happen, it looked really well. I liked the way that it went. And once we get into her, you know, persevering and running through, I actually did like the fact that she wasn't just the overall winner and the champion, but just having it end with her prevailing by, you know, lasting those 5 rounds. And it's just kind of, you know, at a point of, you know, who had the most points, and she gets, you know, the admiration and the respect that way anyway. That's really great. I like the way that that ended. Now, once we get all the way into the ending, and, you know, I love how Budokan just shows up with a whole arm, and like she just been in a whole accident. Like, yeah, it was a long story. Like, girl, here you go to another long story. We just ain't gonna talk about that. But you have her pretty much go and start talking to Manny in the end, like she Joan Coffey in the Green Mile. You big, me little, big little, little big, Bigfoot, little big, like, okay, big protects, yeah, me gon' lick, okay, just talk to him like he's a regular old kid. There is nothing wrong with Manny. I'm waiting for him to speak. He spoke before. Once we end off with, you know, him getting his shoes tied, and he goes, you know, thank you, big. I was like, okay. And it was supposed to be this, you know, really climactic moment. I'm like, oh, Manny spoke. Like, yeah, a little too late. I don't care anymore. I didn't care. Well, you guys, that was my review for Bruised. I hope you enjoyed it. I was caught somewhere in the middle with this film. I didn't, you know, just absolutely love it. It's not, you know, one of my new faves, but it wasn't just, you know, completely, you know, trash. A lot of the stuff here was laughable for me when it was not supposed to be. I laughed at some stuff and I was not supposed to be laughing. But, I mean, it was an okay movie. I just was a little disappointed because I feel like it could have been better. And I think that the script needed a lot of help. I'm gonna say a lot of help. And I think, you know, some things could have been handled differently, especially the way that we handle, you know, our Budokan character. But other than that, this was an okay movie. It's okay to just kind of throw on. It's not anything that I would just like, oh my God, I'm gonna just be watching this, you know, for years to come. No, it's not that kind of movie. It was just okay. But I look forward to reading you guys' comments. I'm sure a lot of people will not agree with my preference or, you know, what I think about the movie. And you're not supposed to. That's why we have a comment section. But thank you guys so much for watching. I look forward to reading your comments below. I see you guys for my next video. Bye.